So, as I was saying, on this album, you've got, and this album is called, of course, recorded in 1975, it's just called Benny. He managed to get here with him on this album, of course, himself on the clarinet, Bucky Pizzarelli, one of the great jazz guitarists of all time, my estimate, the great Hank Jones on piano, Milt Hinton on bass, Grady Tate on drums. That's for his quintet recordings. Now, on some other tracks, he's playing with the great George Benson on guitar, along with Al Gray on the trombone, again, Bucky Pizzarelli on guitar, John Bunch is at the piano, Ron Carter replaces Milt Hinton on the bass, and Grady Tate is still at the drums. On some other tracks on here, he's got Joe Venuti joins him on the violin, great jazz violinist, Herbie Green on the trombone, the late great Canadian vibraphone master, Peter Appleyard is with him on a couple of numbers, and he's got Slam Stewart on the bass. So this is just a really, really great roundup of musicians here that are playing with him. Just some jazz legends, actually. Every one of them that I just mentioned is a jazz legend in his own right. But Benny could attract those kinds of people to record with him. So that was phenomenal. You know, that's one of the major interesting points about Benny. He would never play with second-rate musicians. He was always playing with first-rate, top-quality guys. So we're going to listen here to a classic number from the Benny Goodman repertoire from that album, and it's called A Smooth One, a classic one. And you're probably going to notice a very big difference in the sound quality, of course. It still sounds clear, but it sounds like the instruments are shouting. Anyway, I don't know if to my audiophile ear, it's bothersome. Maybe it won't bother you out there in internet land, but here it is. Here's A Smooth One, Benny Goodman. Whoops, sorry. Here we go. So again, by the time Benny was recording this in 1975, mid-70s, Benny was 66 years old now and still on top of his instrument, still on top of the game. That's the great Al Gray on trombone. I'd like to say, in the meantime, while these numbers are playing here, and I'm going to play you two more tracks from this album, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, share this video if you want to share the love of jazz with other people around you, and put a thumbs up if you feel like it. And hey, I do these programs because I think jazz deserves to be more widely appreciated, and it's not a music that you hear very often on the radio anymore, or on television, or anywhere for that matter. So that's why I do these little programs promoting this fine musical art form called jazz. There's the great George Benson. Now, of course, Benny would throw in, while playing some jazz classics on these albums in his later years, he would always often throw in a hit performance of a hit of the day, you know. So on this album, he plays "You Are the Sunshine of My Life," which was a popular pop tune at the time. So here he is doing this song, "You Are the Sunshine of My Life." Wait a minute, no, this one here. with the great Al Gray. Playing You Are the Sunshine of My Life. And then the next track I want to play to and leave you on this last track here from that album, the great album called Benny, recorded in 1975 for the Columbia label. Here he is performing a classic jazz number, Limehouse Blues. Yeah, that's a classic. Benny's gonna cook on this one. There he goes. So I highly recommend this album. Great music on this album. I'm not crazy about the sound take, but nevertheless, phenomenal music on this. So this has been Benny Goodman. We're now into the 70s. We're in 1975. We're going to continue with next program. I'm going to play two more key albums from the 1970s I think are very important albums put out by Benny in the 70s before we enter into the 80s and go into the final phase of his life and his final recordings. So we're going to see that right up to the end, Benny really remained very much on top of his instrument and a master of his clarinet. Even though he was getting pretty old there, he was when he passed away was 76, 77 years old. But he was still playing and he was still very fluent on his instrument and just a force to be reckoned with on the clarinet, nevertheless. So once again, I'll leave you with the same words I always leave you with when we come to the end of these jazz episodes. Jazz on, people. Jazz on. Keep on smiling. No matter if we're living through some bad inflationary times, keep on jazzing. Keep on listening to some great music. Put a smile on your face. And we'll see you in the next program. Bye-bye. There's a great Joe Venuti on violin. Peter Appleyard, one of my favorites. I gotta let it roll a little bit more. Anyway, see you next program, people. Bye-bye.